So what's up, guys? This is Sumit Sharma here, episode number 9 for InstaTravelStyle Podcast Series. And today we have a special guest from directly from Wales, UK, Kacie Morgan. And she's running a travel blog, travel and food blog for the name of therarewelshbit.com. She is an award-winning food and travel blogger. She started her food and travel blogging journey a decade ago. And she will be completing her 10-year anniversary on 23rd of November. So big congratulations for her. And she has written over 600 plus blog posts and won many accolades for her brilliant work in food and travel industry. Her blog has been featured some bespoke recipes, food and travel destination, restaurants, reviews, local cuisines, and many more. She loves exploring new cuisines all around the globe. And today we will be touching on few of the things. Kacie will be sharing her experiences of 10 years of blogging and how she got into travel and food domain. And so I will share the mic to the Kacie, and Kacie will share a few words about her and how she started into food and travel domain. So over to you, Kacie.
Lovely. Thanks very much for the introduction, and thank you for having me on the podcast today. I'm excited to be here. It's really kind of you to ask me to come on. I started my blog 10 years ago, and I've been lucky enough to call it my full-time job for the last 3 years now. And so occasionally I might write for magazines and websites as well, but it's mainly just like full-time work on my blog with sponsored blog posts and affiliate advertising and sort of social media campaigns and that kind of thing. Yeah. So I started my blog almost 10 years, as we've said to the day. And back then I was just graduating from Cardiff University with an undergraduate degree in journalism, media and cultural studies. And that was at Cardiff University. And most of the journalism jobs at the time were in London or Brighton. And I really didn't want to leave Wales at all. So my prospects were looking quite bleak. And my tutor suggested that I should set up a blog and write about Welsh food because I loved food and I didn't want to leave Wales. So that's what I did. And back 10 years ago, blogs were really unheard of. I think in the whole of Wales, I can probably only think of like 5 or 6 blogs that I knew of at that time. And food has always been a popular area. But back then it was like a way to get my writing noticed. I could put it on my CV and use it in job interviews, and it did always go down really well and still does, even to this day when I speak to people about it. And over time, I think it became a hobby. And then I think as blogging gradually started to gain momentum, I started to make a little bit of money and then a little bit more money. And then I think I started thinking, like maybe I can make more money. And then I think it wasn't until maybe 5 years in that I started to think that perhaps I could, monetize it more. I think I'm lucky that I started when I did, because it meant I was able to get my foot in the door quite early. And I think it must be so much harder for other people to start out today from scratch.
Yeah, absolutely right. So when you started getting into affiliate and other resources for avenues for income for your blog?
Very recently with the affiliate advertising. So traditionally I've always focused on sponsored posts. And I think that's meant that I haven't had as much time as I'd like to spend on traffic, to make my blog in a position where it's like attractive for affiliates. And so now that I've managed to do that, I'm now using like Amazon affiliates, booking.com. I use HelloFresh, which is like a UK recipe box delivery service. And sometimes I'll work direct with a few advertisers as well. But I'm still very much dipping my toes in. There's still so much potential for affiliate advertising.
Okay. So you want to share any kind of tips or suggestion for any newbie who wants to start a travel and food blog from scratch from today onwards? So would you mind walking us through a step-by-step process, like from how to start with the SEO kind of stuff, then when to switch to social media and how to pitch the brands? Like if you want to share your journey and how a newbie can start from scratch from today onwards, maybe in 2020, like how the landscape has been changed.
Sure, yeah. So I'd say the first thing I would say to anyone looking to start out is just to make sure that you're writing about a topic that you're really passionate about, and that you're doing it because you love to travel, or you're passionate about what you're writing about, not just because you want to make money. So I think it's okay to want to make money, but I think if that's your only goal, you'll soon get tired, because it's such hard work, as I'm sure you know, so
Yeah.
many hours, especially if you're working full time as well, because I did that for 7 years, and it really takes up a lot of your time, and it has to almost not feel like work. Otherwise, I think you're going to get tired of it. But
Yeah.
yeah, so I think these days, I mean, back then when I started my blog, I started out on Blogger, and that was a really nice, easy platform for me to start out on, and one that is still an option for people today. And then I think most bloggers would tend to move on to WordPress, when they're ready to progress from there, which is what I've done now. It gives you more options in terms of like designing and customizing your blog. And I think if you're looking to ultimately monetize your blog, there are some limitations with Blogger.
Yeah.
But nowadays there are lots of other platforms you can use too, like Wix and Squarespace. And whilst I haven't tried any of them myself, I have heard quite positive reviews about Wix in particular. I know it provides like quite an easy way to set up a blog, but to be honest, I think if I was starting a blog, I'd probably recommend starting on WordPress, because that seems to be the platform that most people would go on to eventually. And I find it quite easy to optimize your blog posts for SEO, because if you're using WordPress, you've got the Yoast plugin that you can use alongside writing your posts, and it'll just let you know, whether you're doing a good job of optimizing or not.
Right.
So that's like blog platforms, but blogging takes so many forms these days. And I think dependent on how much time you've got or what your particular area of expertise is, you might want to focus on a different platform. So if you're somebody who is really talented at video or photography, perhaps, and maybe if you're limited on time, you might want to just focus on Instagram or TikTok. I know Snapchat even. I know some influencers who are doing really well just focusing on that, and I just don't really do anything on it. So yeah, I think there are so many different platforms that your content can take, and I think it depends on what kind of content you're sharing, what your skills are, and how much time you've got to invest in it as well.
Right.
So yeah, I think I would recommend starting out social channels from day one, really, like as soon as you've got them in place, the sooner you can start building followers. But I tend to focus on one channel at a time. So I might work on my Instagram for a bit, might do Pinterest for a bit, and then I might perhaps come back to Facebook. But I do find it overwhelming trying to focus on all of them, especially if you've got blog posts to write and content to shoot and stuff as well. It's great to be a part of blogging networks. Like locally, I run the Cardiff Blogs networking group, and it's given me a great way to meet other bloggers and to find out more about like the blogging kind of industry and best practice around things like disclosure for advertising, that kind of thing. Yeah, I think it's just great to be a part of these communities. In the UK, I know as well, Blogosphere magazine have got a community, and I'm a part of that, and it gives me access to like exclusive workshops and training events. They share my content now and then, and it's just a nice way to kind of get yourself out there. So I think especially if you're starting out and you don't know any bloggers, joining a local community or even a Facebook group, because there's a lot of those, is like a great way to get connected.
Awesome. So that's quite like you have summarized everything, starting from platform, then to social media handles, and then to monetization. Like how is lockdown treating you right now? Like what have you done? Any kind of new learning? Any kind of new platform you have explored in past 7 to 8 months? If you want to share a few of your learnings.
I've mainly been getting into gardening over lockdown. So I've got a garden, but I've lived in this house for 5 years and I've never done anything with it. But I've been gardening over the lockdown. So I may start feeding through some of that content to the blog next summer, when my gardening skills have improved a little bit more. But no, I've been experimenting with Instagram Reels, which is good because I don't normally do a lot with video because it's just a lot of technology and I've got limited time and no one to help with like video and stuff, which is the stuff that I struggle with. So I've been dipping my toes in with Instagram Reels. I think they're quite easy to use, accessible to everybody, and a good way to increase your reach on Instagram as well through quite minimal effort. So I've been practicing with Reels. I did join TikTok at the end of March, but it just hasn't really taken off for me. Maybe I just haven't given it enough time. I've just been focusing on growing my Instagram. I've started using Tailwind for Pinterest, which I wasn't doing before. And so That's kind of upped my Pinterest referrals to my site quite a lot. So I just need to focus more on doing that, I think. Yeah, it's been a nice opportunity to catch up on my never-ending to-do lists. I think because I can't travel anywhere, I've had to catch up on writing about various trips that I've been on, and I've got a nice clean slate now. I just need lockdown to end so that I can travel again.
Yeah. So do you have any kind of plans for 2021 next year?
No, not as yet. Well, I've got my driving test booked for February, which is exciting. I'm quite a late learner because I'm 31 now, so I was meant to do my test last week, but no, the week before last, but it got moved because of the Welsh lockdown. They cancelled like all driving tests. So hopefully I'll learn to drive in February, and that'll allow me to travel more throughout the UK, like to different parts of Wales. And my sister lives in Southampton. My brother lives in like Oxfordshire. So it'd be nice to be able to visit family more. I'm hoping to visit Cyprus at some point, and it would be lovely to visit Grenada out in the Caribbean again, for the third time now. I love it there. Yeah, that's it really. That's it. I haven't planned too much because it's difficult to plan. I'd love to book a holiday and have something to look forward to, but I think I'd then be worrying, oh no, what if this airline goes bust? So, yeah.
Right. So, like, how have you evolved as a creator from past 10 years? So, the way you have started in 2010, it is completely different in 2020. So, how you have evolved? Like, what are your learns over the years? If you can brief something about that thing as well.
Sure. So when I first started out, I think I used to place like a huge focus on writing, because I've been, trained with a journalism background, and I think the quality of my writing was always a big focus for me, and I think still is. But now I actually know what SEO is. I tend to write more like with SEO in mind, so I find that my posts are ranking a lot better. My photography skills have improved a lot, so I survived just with like iPhone photography up until 2016, and then 17. And then when I quit my job to go full time on the blog, I decided to take the plunge. And so I just got like a small compact mirrorless camera. It's like the Panasonic Lumix GX800. So that's been a really good starter camera, just helping me get used to, kind of more advanced photography. So I think I've improved my photography quite a lot through getting that camera and just listening to tutorials and stuff online. So photography's improved. I think I'm managing my time a lot better because there's just always something to do with blogging. And I think in the past I found it quite overwhelming, but now I'm like managing my time more better. And also accepting that, it doesn't matter if you're not doing all the best practice things. Sometimes there's no like set, formula or like equation for success. So
you have to do experiments here, and what works, we have to follow them as a best practice.
Yeah.
Awesome. So which is your like favorite social media platform and why?
I love Instagram because it's so visual, and as a lot of my content is food focused, I think that's like an important focus, obviously having it on the visual photography side of things. I like Reels as well, and I just think with Instagram it's quite easy to access like a wide audience with hashtags. I find Twitter to be a bit of a negative platform. I'm not really sure why. It almost feels like you're shouting into a void, and sometimes you might hear an echo, but you don't hear much back. I don't know, that's what I find, to be honest, my experience of Twitter. But I like Facebook too, because I get quite a lot of traffic through to my blog off that. So yeah, Facebook and Instagram are probably my two favorites. Again, Pinterest, I can get quite a lot of traffic through minimal effort as well since I've started using Tailwind. But I'd say Instagram is like my overall hero platform.
Okay. Awesome. So like, what are your like biggest learning as a content creator? And do you think this is the right time to switch from your full-time job to a full-time content creator job? Do you think?
I think it depends on the person, because I know at the moment the jobs market isn't great. And if, for example, I know a lot of people have been made redundant or lost their jobs throughout the lockdown. If I was struggling to find work in the area I wanted, or if I was perhaps always thinking about going down the blogging route full time, but never really had a chance to give it a go, I think I would definitely seize this opportunity to give it a go. If you can always do it while you're looking for work. And, when I quit my job a few years ago, I always thought I'd get a part-time job to go alongside it. But when I actually hit the ground running, I didn't need to. So you may find that that's what happens. Yeah, it's surprising when you're working on your blog and increasing your traffic, full time. It's surprising how fast things can move. On the other hand, though, I'd say if you don't have much finances behind you at the moment and money is a concern, you might be better off focusing your time on looking for like regular paid work. I think it just depends on the individual and also on how you view money and like what you want from life, really. What kind of financial commitments you've got, etc. Yeah.
Okay. So how do you manage your day? Like, do you have a set timings for like social media? You have to devote 2 hours. Then for blog SEO, you have to devote half an hour. So do you follow any kind of a calendar or plans for your blog?
I use Trello as like just to keep track of like different kinds of tasks I've got to do on my blog and like in other areas of my life, whether it be like my finances or my house or my garden even. I like lists. And so I'll tend to have my overall Trello list, and then the day before each day I'll kind of sit down and look at what I want to get done the next day. So when I wake up, I'm focused, I know what I'm doing. My saying is like, you either run the day or the day will run you. So just try and have like a focus in mind of what I want to achieve that day without kind of setting myself too much. And one thing I've learned, because normally when I work from home, I tend to skip meals. And so before lockdown, I always used to work from coffee shops for this reason. And then now working from home, I've had to kind of develop an eating routine to stop myself just like starving until 4 p.m. in my pajamas and then finally eating food. And since I've started eating more regularly at home, I'm obviously a lot more focused, believe it or not. Who would have thought it? Eating regularly and like planning, but accepting as well that sometimes plans change, and there may be times when you have to move things around or prioritize certain things in place of others.
Okay, awesome. And how do you compare this year to the previous year in terms of revenue from your blog? Does it get a hit on your this year, or do you find a quite similar kind of trend?
I think I've lost money in terms of like travel stuff this year. So like a few travel projects that I was due to be working on had to be cancelled because like I couldn't travel, so it just wasn't physically possible to do. And then others, the clients' budgets got cut, or they were perhaps concerned about spending and just didn't go ahead or didn't want to be seen to be advertising travel, I think. So I did lose work in like the travel area, but then because I focus on food as well, I've gained a lot in terms of recipe work, which makes up a lot of what I do. I think food is now becoming like a huge thing, like more people than ever are cooking from scratch at home throughout the lockdown. We're having to cook for ourselves and not able to eat out as more. So I think food is becoming a lot more popular. I think while my travel posts have perhaps seen a bit of a dip in views, my food content is doing really well.
Okay. So don't you ever thought of trying your hands in food vlogging, like covering food videos, like switching to YouTube as a platform, because it's had an immense amount of opportunity?
I've considered it, but it's not really like my strong area, video. Like I'm not very good at technology. I think I get quite stressed out when I'm dealing with editing and stuff like that. It's like my worst nightmare. So I think if I had like another pair of hands to help, then maybe I would let them help me with the video, but I don't see it being an area that I would be focusing on in a big way.
Okay. Maybe you can start in tiny steps, like here and there.
Yeah.
Some small pockets, then you can make it a large thing. And do you want to give us a announcement about your 10 years of blogging journey and any kind of giveaways or opportunity you're doing for your audiences, if you want to share something about that?
I haven't decided yet. I've been so busy lately. I haven't really decided exactly what I'm doing. I'm still thinking. So I haven't decided as yet.
Okay. So like we are coming to end of our podcast, and I would like to big thanks to Kacie for sparing her time for us. And I would like to share, like to talk, share with the audience that you can follow Kacie on her social media handles, and Kacie will share in a bit, and will also add the social media handles in the YouTube description below. And Kacie, any last minute thoughts you want to share with our audiences? Any kind of suggestion, tips?
No, I think thanks for having me here. And best of luck to all of you with your blogging or vlogging journeys. Hope it all goes really well. And you can follow me on social media at The Rare Welsh Bit.
Awesome. Thanks everyone for watching this video, and thanks to Kacie for sparing time for us. And it's me, Sumit, signing off. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and follow Kacie on all her social media handles. So until next time, bye bye. Take care, guys.
Thanks. Bye.